Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Snowbike channel. There was some comments recently looking at track rollout, and it's a real simple process to look at how much track you get to move per one revolution of your counter shaft sprocket. And so it's pretty simple. I'm going to show you how to do this. You're going to need a marker, and you're going to need a ruler or a tape measure, and all you're going to do is make some marks. I'll show you how to do it, and you can look at how much rollout you have on your track. This will tell you how it's geared. You know, a lot of the industry standards is somewhere between 11 and 12 inches, but you can change up your gearing drastically and do all kinds of things. And so I'll show you what I'm talking about. All right, so what we've got here, we're looking at the counter shaft sprocket. And as you can see, I've already made a little bit of a mark right here and a little bit of mark right here on the sprocket. And next we're going to come down here to the track. And again, you can see I made a mark on the Hyfax and a mark on the track. Now what we're going to do is spin the track so that the counter shaft makes one complete revolution. And then we're going to go back over here, and then we're going to measure the distance that the track has traveled in comparison to the mark I made on the Hyfax. All right, so now there's our original mark, and that's how far the track has traveled. So you'll put a measuring tape right there, and it looks like I'm 12 1/8, 12 1/4. Yeah, about 12 1/4. So that's all you do, and hope this video helps, but it's gonna give you an idea as to how much rollout your track has given a certain gearing. So if you start playing around with gearing, this is something that you'll wanna look at. Okay, so just for comparison, I did the same test on my 450, and this one I purposefully geared, and the QDT, the belt drive, I geared it 1-to-1. So I've got a 23 gear on top and 23 gear on the bottom. And when I did this track run out on this 450 with 1-to-1 gearing, I got 13 3/8 inch run out. And then on the 300, I purposefully geared this one down. And in here on the belt drive, I've got 22 tooth up top and a 24 tooth down the bottom. And with that, I'm getting 12 1/4. So just real quick, a couple other things that you can change with the bike. The counter shaft sprocket, of course, you can change. For this particular bike, Timber Sled recommends a 13 tooth, and so I like to stick with that. I do have a 12 tooth, but I've heard that if you go to that 12 tooth, it's a little harder on chains. And you can also change out the jack shaft sprocket. I believe this is a 18 tooth, and they have some options there for a 17 and maybe a 19 tooth. There's some different options. I haven't played around a whole lot with different jack shafts, sprockets. And then of course the other option is buying different gears for the top and bottom for the QDT belt drive system. And so you've got a lot of options. You know, the easiest low-hanging fruit is to change this one. You know, if you're perhaps maybe bought like an enduro bike and it came stock with like a 14 tooth, I would probably gear it down a little bit, unless you are super light and really like going real fast. That might be an option. So again, it just really comes down to personal preference and what you're hoping to get out of the bike. But if you go onto the main Facebook group, Timber Sled, Snowbike Facebook group, under Files, there is actually a tab called Files on that Facebook group. And a guy, Chris Sexton, came up with a very nice Excel spreadsheet that allows you to put in different sprocket choices, and then it gives you the gearing ratio. And so from there you can kind of see, you know, what happens when you change something one tooth. So go check it out, And yeah. So the difference between these two bikes, the 450 and the 300, I again purposefully geared the 300, what I'm calling geared it low. And what that's going to give you is a lot better immediate torque off the bottom. It's you're going to lose some top end speed, and so it's a trade-off. You give up some top end speed for some immediate snap, and that's what I wanted with that 300. On the 450, last year and now this year, I found the 1-to-1 ratio to be great for me. This is going to vary depending on your riding style, your body weight, and the terrain that you're tackling. And so for me, 1-to-1 works great. Timber Sled sends you the kit with 22 on top and a 23 on the bottom, and that's for the 3-inch kit. And you know, it's personal preference. For me, I felt like the 1-to-1 gearing just has, I edge my friends when I'm going up the hill. I can tell that I've got a little bit more speed than they do going up hills. And you lose some of that bottom end snap, some of that immediate low end grunt, but you gain a little bit more top end. And one of these days I'll do a GPS comparison of the speeds between the two bikes, but I'm guessing that the 300 is going to top out at like 40 maybe, and the 450 is going to top out at 50 plus. And so to each their own, but I hope this video helps you kind of get familiar with your gearing options on the QDT and get out there, go get some.